for me, the broken road is all that's left. But I'll always remember.
Hey, welcome back. Today I am going to break down for you the Days Gone E3 behind closed doors alternative playthrough trailer. So let's get to it. I have been waiting for this gameplay alternate playthrough to come out since they announced it at E3, since they said there was an alternate playthrough and that they were showing it behind closed doors. It wasn't released to the public yet, but it was coming out, and it is finally here. So I tore that trailer up. I made notes. Bam. I watched it like 4 times. I wanted to make sure I got every little detail that I possibly could. So I will play the alternate gameplay for you with the commentary of John Garvin and Sam Witwer, who plays Deacon St. So there is so much to talk about. There is so much hype for this game. I am so freaking excited. I can barely contain myself. I'm freaking out. Like, I cannot wait to play this. I want to know when the release date is. Gimme. I want it. The first thing I notice when they start, on the bottom left, you see the health bar, which is set at 100%, and you actually have a gas meter. It's on the bottom left side of the screen, and you can see how quickly the gas goes in this game. So I was struck by that, how quickly you go through gas, and how much of this gameplay is going to have to be spent gathering resources, crafting, finding supplies. I love looking throughout the environment. You find so many things, and you find all the little secrets and goodies. I love it. You really have to be careful. It's going to be like The Last of Us in that way, because you have to make sure you have enough resources or you will die, which they talk about in the alternate gameplay. This game is an open world. Obviously, we all know this. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. The first thing they talk about is the dynamic events in this game, which impacts your gameplay tremendously. In the original gameplay trailer we saw at E3, it takes place at night. There are wolves out. The first dynamic event, the weather. And that could mean a different playthrough completely if it is raining or if it is snowing. Also, there's a day-night cycle, and if it is daytime, you might not see as many freakers because they are nocturnal, which means they most of the time come out at night to feed. Another dynamic part of this gameplay is your motorcycle. This is the only vehicle you get. You are not trading it in. You can upgrade it. You can find parts for it. You have to keep your motorcycle running or you will not survive. So depending on how you use your resources, you're going to have to worry about upgrading that bike to protect you. That is the only thing that is going to help you save your life when you are running from these freakers and this infected world. Depending on the type of weather, if it is raining and slick out or if it is snowing, the bike will drift, it will skid, you won't be able to take off and speed off as quickly. You have to be more careful while you're driving. It reacts to the environment. So just like in real life, if you're riding a motorcycle, you have to be extra careful when you're driving in rain. So you have to be very careful. And that is going to change the way you play the game. They talk about the dynamic events and how in the original gameplay, Deacon was being chased by wolves. So he had to shoot at them while he was driving his motorcycle. He had to run away from them and shoot them as he was riding away. So he wasn't able to see the trap that the marauders had set for any intruders, and he got clotheslined. But in the alternate gameplay, he was not being chased because of the cold weather. The wolves don't come out. So they are not going to be out in the environment as much. So he was able to take them out without being spotted because he saw the trap ahead of time. And this is how your gameplay will drastically change depending on the environment, which is so exciting. Another part of the dynamic events is the weather. And the freakers, they're mostly nocturnal. They will come out during the day, but they are mostly nocturnal. And they are stronger in the cold. They thrive in the cold. So if it's cold out, you will see more of them, but less of the wolves. So this changes how you will react to the environment and the infected while you're playing, depending on who you're going to run into and how it's going to affect your playstyle. The humans will also react differently according to these dynamic events. So the second thing they talk about is the brutal combat. Now, if you've seen the original playthrough from E3 last year, or if you've seen the E3 from this year, you know that the takedowns are merciless. They wanted to keep it as realistic as possible, that in this world you have to kill or be killed, and you do not have time to mess around. Like if someone's coming for you, you have to take them out as quickly and as brutally as possible, and they reflected this play style in the game. And you've seen this throughout both of the E3 trailers from last year and this year, but they really talk about how they have kept it really brutal. So be prepared. The one standout for me, and they also talk about it, is when the guy from the Marauder camp, who Deacon lures into the bear trap, and he is caught in the bear trap, and he is, obviously screaming in pain. And the other people from his camp are trying to get him to calm down and be quiet because it's going to attract the freakers. So in this alternate playthrough, they don't have time to mess around. They were like, well, you are going to be heard. He was trapped. He wouldn't shut up. And they shot him dead, his own people. This is how brutal this world is, and this is how brutal you have to be. Doesn't matter, Deacon takes them all out anyway. The third item they talk about is survival tactics. They use survival vision, where you can see tracks, you can see clues, you can imagine what had happened before you got there, what's happening. It helps you navigate through the world. Also, there's a lot in the environment. You are going to be able to search for supplies. You need to really look around this world. So there is also a skill tree. They're not talking too much about it, but you will need to upgrade your skills. You will be able to upgrade your survival vision. Also, you need to really search for supplies. You need to harvest as much as you can from this environment because you're going to need it. In the gameplay, he has to break into an emergency vehicle to look for supplies. In the original one from 2016, he's looking through, he fashions a silencer for his gun. So you need to really search for these items so you can upgrade. The fourth thing they talk about is strategic combat. You will be able to use and manipulate the environment to help you survive in this world. The first thing they talk about is weaponizing the swarm. You can weaponize the infected by sending them crashing into the gates of the Marauder camp, and you can use them to your advantage so you can sneak in unnoticed. It's exactly what Deacon does in the first original playthrough. You can also set traps. There's bear traps and the freakers themselves as traps. They help protect the camps. They use the meat wall, animals, freakers, infected, and other humans from coming into the camp. You can sneak in unnoticed and take out that whole camp through stealth, or you can go in guns blazing. It depends on your playstyle and how you think you can survive. So the people at the camp, their behavior will change as well depending on the time of day. Especially if it's at nighttime, it's going to be quiet, it's going to be hard as hell to sneak in because they're going to hear everything. There are also multiple paths you can take throughout the game. There's not just one way to go in and try and make your way through. You can take different routes. You can snipe from a distance. If you have a good enough weapon and a good enough upgrade, you can snipe from a distance and never even have to come close to the camp. And the fifth thing is the different types of infected. As of 2016, the only infected we saw really were the Newts, the young freakers, and the adult freakers. So in this, we saw the infected wolves, and there was the introduction this year of the Rager Bear. That fucking thing. And they said this at E3 that they never want you to feel comfortable in this world. They want you to feel as if anything can come out and kill you at any moment. So you'll never feel safe, and it's something or somebody is out to get you at all times. So I'm going to play the alternate gameplay with the commentary from John Garvin and Sam Witwer, but I am so excited for this game. My final thoughts are this game is incredibly dynamic. It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. The world seems alive. It's so beautifully done. It's so realistic. The combat's going to be realistic, and you have such a comprehensive set of skills and tools to help you navigate through this world, which is completely brutal and barbaric, and I cannot wait to play it. So here is the alternate gameplay with the commentary from John Garvin and Sam Witwer. Thanks so much for watching, and I will be back with more.
Hello, I'm John Garvin, the writer and director, and I'm here with
Sam Witwer. I play Deacon St. John in Days Gone.
Yeah, and we're here to talk about the alternate path demo. So we did 2 demos for E3 this year. One you guys saw at the media showcase, and this one we showed behind closed doors on the floor at E3. And so for the first time, we're releasing it online so that everybody can kind of take a look at it. And I thought I'd just talk a little bit about, what the differences are, and just kind of like just show you what we were trying to accomplish this year.
Yeah, I mean, the most obvious difference so far is the last one was nighttime during the rain, and this is daytime during the snow.
Yeah, and it's not just cosmetic, and I think that's one of the things we really wanted to emphasize, because this time we're showing sort of a day in the life of Deacon. You see he's on the drifter bike here. We wanted to show a little more of the bike riding and how the weather can kind of impact that. So we have this drifting mechanic, right? You see him kind of slipping and sliding around a little bit.
Changes the handling of the bike. That's really interesting. Now, there were wolves there last time, John, and these wolves would pursue you down this road, and then Deacon had to turn his back, shoot a wolf, and he got clotheslined right up there, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So this time you see that he wasn't being chased by the wolves. That's a dynamic event that can that can happen or not. It just depends on when you're playing the game.
Interesting.
And this time Deacon saw the ambush and he was able to avoid it. So he kind of comes up and around and behind them.
So does weather impacts whether these creatures show up or not in daytime, nighttime, all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So especially the freakers, they come out, they're mostly nocturnal, but they will come out as the weather gets colder. They become stronger in the cold.
Right.
And so that will, again, kind of change up the way the game plays.
That's very, very, I kind of love that you decided to do this as a demo to show two completely different iterations on the same exact mission in the game.
Yes, exactly. So we wanted to have, the job is basically the same. Deacon hears that his buddy's in trouble, rides out to save his life. And, as you can see here, this is a completely different experience from what we showed in the first demo. In the first one, Deacon gets clotheslined, and it sounded very painful, by the way.
Speaking of painful, okay, so the combat in this game is fairly brutal. John, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, we just wanted to make it as realistic as possible. So, yeah, we're not holding back on that at all. And Sam's done most of his own stunt work for this. And I can tell you that when we're on the performance stage and we're capturing that stuff, we just try to keep it real, right?
Right. Well, right. There was sort of a decision made at some point. I've been on the project for 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah, I think 3 years.
And so early on, I think there was a more, what were we? It was more Kurt Russell and sort of a two-fisted thing, and then it turned into, hey, let's take this quite seriously. And what that required is a lot more. Taking this combat stuff and showing the horror of the violence that happens and it were this type of circumstance to take place. I mean, realism, weirdly enough, is the thing we keep going back to when it comes to not just the stunts, but also the performance style. I think, it was very important that it doesn't seem like a bunch of actors, saying lines. It was all very incidental.
And we wanted the world to sort of reflect that as well. So you saw there that, Deacon broke into that emergency vehicle and found some supplies. So this is what we're calling our survival vision. So you saw that earlier when he was looking at Manny's bike on the ground. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of a way of seeing tracks in the world and sort of imagining what might have happened. Mm-hmm. And here I just wanted to point out that you're seeing in this part of the demo that there are freakers there. There weren't there before because it wasn't snowing. It was, and it was getting lighter out. It wasn't getting darker like it is. And so, it changes up the way you can play through the level.
And what is this?
We call this the meat wall.
The meat wall.
Yeah, and it's not just there, to make the guys who put them up to seem evil. They're there for a purpose because, again, freakers are living creatures. They eat. That's their primary thing. They want to eat. And so you hang these dead freakers up, and any freaker, rather than coming into their camp like you see here, they would actually
stop and snack.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then the same thing with this freaker that they've hung upside down. Mm-hmm. There's a bear trap underneath it, and they use that because a freaker will come, be attracted to the meat, and then hit that trap.
Interesting.
Another thing you just saw, by the way, is that tin can.
The tin can trap that you
that's an alarm that the marauders will put up, and this is again some of the things that marauder camps just do. And you find these marauder camps throughout the world. You'll find traps like that, and then if you're careful and you're paying attention, you can avoid them. Because in the first demo, Deacon didn't avoid it, and he set off that alarm.
Right. Now this is the same tactic that he used last time. Throws the rock to get someone to lure him over and have him step in the bear trap. But this one plays out a little bit differently than last time. One of the things that struck me, and we've talked about this obviously as we've shot, but there's an effort of the other marauders to get this guy to shut up, and he won't.
Yeah, and so in the first demo, Deacon's heading on down the trail, and you can hear that happening behind him.
Right.
And this time we're showing what happened. So, he's watching everybody react to this poor guy trapped in in that bear trap, and she just is like, shut up, and then just loses it and shoots the guy.
Right.
And of course, in the meantime, Deacon, is crafting a Molotov and just takes them all out.
Right. Oh boy, that's good. Ow.
So again, it's like in the previous demo, Deacon would have gone off to the trail down to the right. This time he's going to head this way. He follows the tracks, and comes under a sniper attack.
Now let me ask you something about the survival. Okay, there's a sniper attack coming, but the survival vision is, if you don't say upgrade your survival vision, can you miss clues? I mean, are there things that you would get if you upgraded your survival vision that would help you complete the mission better?
Exactly, and you have to, we have a whole skill tree, and it's all tied to the experience that you can earn as you're just playing through the game, and then you can upgrade those things.
What's happening here? We got a freaker tied to a tree.
Yeah, so this is another type of trap that Marauders will set. They will basically chain freakers to the perimeter of their camps, and they use them as kind of an alarm system. And then that, you saw that Marauder there, he was just tormenting the poor freaker, and then so Deacon kind of takes advantage of that.
Well, and you think for a moment that Deacon is the guy, he's sort of helping the freaker by, getting the guy that taunted him. Is like, no, and then he's going to take the freaker out right afterward.
Exactly.
And this is a bit of silent sniping using the crossbow.
Yeah, so this whole sequence at the end plays out very differently. In the first demo, you saw Deacon use a swarm. He weaponized a swarm, lured them into the camp, and then they kind of did the work for him. There's no swarm in this run-through. Right. So the player really has to go in and use what we're calling our strategic sandbox combat, and that's just, stealth mechanics and setting and using traps, whole arsenal of weapons. You see there's a variety of weapons that Deacon's going to use through this, including the crossbow. He crafts his own bolts. And he's got to figure out how to get up to Manny, just using his combat skills instead of doing it strategically.
So straighten me out. Those bonfires, were those there in the previous demo?
No, they weren't. Right. So that's another big difference. Is that if you come here during the day, it's like in the media showcase demo, there was like kind of a fight club thing going on.
Right.
They were punching each other, and everybody was just sort of getting into it. Nobody's really paying attention to what's going on. Yeah. And now it's getting dark and it's cold out. So they've built these bonfires. So. And again, it's not just a cosmetic change in the way the...
Well, it's cold, right?
Yeah, it's because it's cold.
They have to build some...
So it changes the way the Marauders behave in the level.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's very... Again, this is part of the reason why I love that you did this as a demo, because the behavior of all of these things, not just the freakers, but the Marauders, everything, there's a logic to it. You can track why they're doing the things that they're doing. And you can use it to your advantage in the gameplay. That's kind of what I like about this so much.
And that's really what we wanted to showcase this year, is that it's an open world game, and everything you see around here. And again, we're only playing this two different ways. You saw that waterfall way up there off in the distance. There's a bridge that goes in front of that. If you had a sniper rifle and enough ammunition, you could have driven your bike all the way up there. There's trails that go all the way up there, and you could have used your sniper rifle to take out this entire camp, because it would have taken them a while to figure out where the shots were coming from and to get to you. So, that's a different way to play it. There's another way to play it, by the way, where you could have just stealthed in through the entire camp if you had the skills to do it. And you could have just taken everybody out silently, or almost everybody, and then you could have gotten up to where Manny's being held using a different route, and just stealth killed that guy. There's no reason that you have to come in and run and gun it like Deacon is doing here.
Hey, how scarce is ammunition? Because I see him switching from a bunch of weapons, and when we saw this demo, when I came in and saw it at E3, one of the things that I really enjoyed was I was sitting next to you, and the driver was playing the game, and at some point I saw you shift in your chair and you leaned forward, and I heard you say, "Oh man, uh-oh." And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? He's like, he's going to get killed. I'm like, whoa, oh. And I leaned forward. I was like, oh, I guess there's some real danger. And one of the things was that he was running out of ammunition. And he was trying to go pick up ammo from the dead
he was looking for
Marauders.
Ammo,
But he was under fire.
So when we were at E3, we had a whole team with us, and everybody played it slightly differently. So it just shows you that it's not scripted at all.
Yeah. And then this Rager Bear. Oh,
yeah,
boy.
The infected bear.
The infected bear. That's... Yeah. That's not what you want to see.
Well, we thought that would be a good way to end the demo, is to show that it's just one, for Deacon's life. It's just one darn thing after another.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to save your buddy. You get clotheslined. You get attacked by wolves, or you think you're finally done. You've rescued you've gone through all this stuff, and then suddenly, Rager Bear.
Right. Well, as you said to me, it's not just about exploring an open world as it is the open world coming after you. The open world seeking you out, trying to.
Yeah, exactly. That's our tagline. In Days Gone, you don't have to go seeking out trouble. The world comes for you.
Trouble's looking for you.
All right, Sam, thanks a lot.
Thanks, John.
It's been fun. And I hope you guys enjoy the demo, and we'll talk more about it soon.